Hello, Cancer. This is your mid-month Patreon reading. These are cool because now in the Patreon universe, I can do these readings the way I want to do them on YouTube, but they'll be either deemed too harsh or too many curse words or not, people will be like, I missed the astrology. You'll still get the astrology in this videos, but I just, there's something about like sitting down with a friend and they're like, can you just read for me real fast? And you're like, yeah, okay. And you do this. And it's more energy based. It's more compassionate. It's less a product. All right, listen. Here we go. Take a deep breath. These next few weeks is prep, and it is prep for the big true truths that fall all over you, around you, and on you in November. You know this already, in some sense, because you have this ability. You know this is coming. It's like right now it's just a little bit of anxiety, but you know something is gonna drop. So, your need to want to control what happens from now until then is extreme. You hate the feeling that some truth is looming or something is gonna happen and you have no control over it. As I said on the live earlier, which you can find on the Zot here, Cancers are the most controlling sign. Now, the reason this is even more difficult and even less controllable than a transit would be, because every transit is uncontrollable, this is more so because the next 2 weeks, starting today really, with this Venus-Pluto square, starting today, and for the next 2 weeks, Pluto, again, if you're a Cancer rising, this is across from you in your 7th house. It's just like Pluto's had enough. Like, it just doesn't care anymore. Pluto wants things to be better. It wants things to be more efficient. It wants things to be more streamlined, but it doesn't care how we get there. It's it's like this. Uranus in Taurus is like, there are some elements of the house that are worth saving. Great banisters, pre-war arches or whatever the fuck. Love the authentic, entryway and stairway. Let's leave that stuff and kind of just work around it in a chaotic renovation that'll last years and years and we'll have to live in the middle of it. But when we're done, the old and the new will have gelled in this really deep, taxing, trying experience, and it will become this thing that we love. All of it will come together. That's Uranus and Taurus. We'll deal with the chaos. We'll make interesting decisions, right? We'll take baths in a tub outside until the plumbing is done. Like, we'll do what we have to for this larger, noble vision that we have of meshing the old and the new. Pluto in Capricorn is like, yeah, tear it down. Fuck this house. Tear it down, tear it down. And for you, Cancer rising, for me, Cancer rising, for you, Cancer sun, Cancer moon, that's the last thing you want to hear, right? That's like the worst thing in the world. What do you mean, tear it down? Cancer's like, love the house. This is my house. I'll fix it myself. Everybody leave. Tear it down. That's the complete opposite of what we should do, says Cancer. I'll go down with the house. I'm not gonna let you do that. And unfortunately, November is the month where, no, that's exactly what's going to happen. Pluto's had enough. And the next 2 weeks feel like getting boxed around a little bit as you prepare for these demolitions of truth. Now, the most painful part of this will simply be the lack of control. If you can get a handle on your lack of control, if you can find healthy ways to substitute that urge, that need, go ahead and do so. What would I suggest? Something that has to do with beautifying the home, something that makes you feel like you're really doing something. Something that makes you feel valuable, worthy. Go make some money, go buy something nice, get a haircut. Do something that makes you feel and look in alignment with how you'd want to look when you were going to get some news. Would you want to look your best? Good news, bad news. When you're dealing with Pluto, Mars, and Gemini, it's all relative now. Everything is going to get restructured one way or another. So you may as well look your best and anticipate the best and keep your anxiety as low as you can, especially if you're dealing with a Virgo that you want to chase you. And I can tell you exactly how to do it. Well, the cards are telling you, but I can tell you too. You want to know? You want to know? I wanted to talk about this, so I'm really glad that it came up. Grab something to drink, please. Water, preferably. Let's stay hydrated. All right. Listen up. I think this is the perfect time for you to learn how to perfectly use your manifestation skills. I just figured this out, so it's not like I've been hiding it and waiting for the right moment. Here we go. There's no forcing anything. That's the first thing you have to get through your head. As a philosophy, as a manifestation technique, as a way of being, as a friend, a family member, a parent, a devoted person, devoted person of faith, a lover. There is no incentive for anyone to do anything and for anything to move the way you want it to move. There is no incentive for this galaxy, this universe, this world, this dimension, this realm, these people around you to break their flow that they are flowing in all together to make it the way you want it to be. You have to understand this. There is no way to force anything. Now from this, you can easily slide into the next realization, which is really important. But you can jump into the flow and go with it, and without manipulating it, without controlling it, you can flow into alignment with exactly what you want. How? 1, you can't disrupt the flow. You can't control things into being. 2, instead of being anti-flow, you have to start to catch the rhythm of the flow and jump into the current. Now, this is going to take a while because all your life, you've been trying to control the tide. dear Cancer. And it is a powerful day when a Cancer realizes that there is no controlling the tide. And that was the most foolish endeavor. And it took so many years to understand. And then the next realization will come. A long way, inshallah, down the line. Well, you'll realize that not only can you not control the tide, but that the tide is you. But that's later. So, you realize that you cannot force anything. You realize that you cannot control the tide. You realize instead to start to gain rhythm with the tide and to become one with it. Now, that's all fine and good when you're talking in abstraction, but what does that actually mean? How do you do that, like, between people? How do you do that in a situation, for example, where you want someone to come into your life or come back into your life? This is, after all, one of Cancer's favorite pastimes. So how would you do that? What would that look like, going with the flow? Well, the most obvious flow in life is that you're loved and worthy. You are created that way. So, the most obvious flow and the easiest to jump into is one of God-given value. You are loved and you are beautiful. Now, this is a flow that a lot of people find impossible to get into, but only because they don't possess the power that you have. You live in the subconscious. So for you, it's as easy as walking around and just repeating to yourself in your head all day, I am loved and I am beautiful. After a few days, you'll start to realize that this gives your countenance a different look. It gives your walk a different cadence. It adds a lilt to your voice that wasn't there before. And a light starts to emerge in your eyes. For when we are loved and we feel beautiful, no matter if someone is telling us from the outside or it's just us telling ourselves, that all being the same thing, we start to bloom. And not just emotionally, but physically as well. That is the most natural flow state of life. In this state, it's very easy to attract pretty much anything that you'd like because everything is attracted to you when you feel that way. And funnily enough, there's one group of people who aren't attracted to you at all. And those are people who feel unloved and ugly, small inside. So it's also a very good filter when it comes to manifestation of how to keep things away from you that you definitely don't want. Once you're in that state of no longer wishing to control and instead diving deep into the current and flow, the most natural and original flow of consciousness, you begin to build on this blossoming, this physical and spiritual, emotional blossoming. You begin to retain more and more gravity. You begin to deepen. You get smarter. You meet more people. You do more things. Your creativity starts to run quickly, smoothly. And within a few months of living in this current and in this space, you realize that you can attract and have anyone that you wanted. And when you realize it, any step you take after that is successful because it's a step taken from total power and radical self-acceptance. You take months to get into a flow that builds your esteem, builds the part of your brain, and thickens the part of your brain physically in your prefrontal cortex that has to do with sense of self. You literally build yourself up. You build yourself back again. And when you're done, funny things start to happen. You feel a power surging through you. Things that were meant to trip you up. Things that were meant to stress you out. Things that were meant to scare you so much you run away. You respond with such sublime stability. You just got to get through the next few weeks. And getting into that flow state will be like having a bird's eye view from a private jet of all the chaos below. It won't touch you. But if you let your ego get involved, see, there's nothing the ego hates more than I am loved and I am beautiful. Because when we feel loved and beautiful, we want for nothing, and the ego is simply empty want. It's an unfillable need. Try it. It'll change your life. And if you're worried about what you attract back into your life, you have to remember that every time you do this, every day that you wake up committed to this, you're shifting realities. The version of that person that comes back ain't the version that you used to be with anyway. It's the version you deserve now. The version you're strong enough to handle now. The version that can get some good out of it. Trust yourself, trust your power, trust the timing. And just be like a fucking freight train when it comes to your self-worth. Just talk yourself into the flow and stop trying to fucking control shit. Because Pluto is going to rip shit out of your hands if you try to do that, and it'll be bad. Don't be like me trying to go down the fucking kamikaze slide in Action Park and holding onto the fucking sides because it was going too fast and I ripped the shit out of both of my hands. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just fucking chill out. I know it's hard for you to do, but sometimes, even moms go on vacation and drink wine and sit in spas and act useless. Just let this be that for you. Mom archetype. Go drink some fucking, non-alcoholic halal wine and fucking be done with it. Go put some cucumbers on your eyes or some shit. Love you.